8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
International superstar, Miss Mother B. Rocker.
You are now tuned in to Butter B Rocker on Transparency Talks Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Transparency Talks Podcast. I am your girl, Butter B Rocker. Listen, we have an amazing show for you tonight. We have Miss Lili Washington. She is the founder of YBLimited. She's a model, an actor, a producer. Can you please give a warm welcome to Miss Lili Washington? Hello, darling.
Hello, love. How are you?
I am doing good. You look absolutely beautiful.
Well, thank you. I'm feeling a little tired, but I'm glad it doesn't reflect. So
it does not reflect.
Thank you.
So I like to dive right on in. Can you tell everybody a little bit about your background and about yourself?
Yes. So, like you said, I'm Lili Washington. I'm the owner and founder of a brand called YBLimited. Right. So that says a lot right there. Right. And so I started off as a makeup artist. That's how I actually started my career, and it's been an exciting journey. And when I named the brand YBLimited, I named it that because I just knew that I didn't know where I was going to go. That's all I knew, was that I didn't know where I was going to go. And Lord, was I right. So, from there, I ended up, YBLimited ended up becoming the first full-service, all-inclusive mobile glam team in the country. We didn't know that until we did it. And then I tried to find a blueprint because I was like, what are we doing here? Mm-hmm. And I realized that we were setting the blueprint at that moment. So that was really exciting. That was in Atlanta. And then I moved to New York, and some things happened, including the whole panorama. That's what me and my friends call the pandemic. And my career started to shift. I went from behind the camera into in front of the camera, and I became a model, an actor, and I also do motivational speaking as well. So that's something else that I often forget to put into my spiel.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're going to dive into all of that what you just said.
Okay.
So one of the things that you just talked about is that you began in makeup. So how early on did you know this is what I wanted to do?
That's kind of a tricky question.
Okay.
I knew that I wanted to do something in that realm, whether it was hair or makeup. I knew when I was a child.
Okay.
I knew as early as childhood. But life, things take, it takes you on another path, and then you look up and you're doing what you think you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. Things that are safe and stuff like that. And then I kind of lost my zest, or even the fact that I just lost my zest for art. I didn't know at that point that I even possessed that artist ability for a long time, because I kind of suppressed it. And then, it's important to get around the winners. So I got around different people, and they started to pull that out of me. Mm-hmm. And so then it was about 2012. I was doing something, and it was a happy accident. And then I ended up, I started with just a little bit of concealer. That's what started the whole journey. A little bit of concealer, doing a spot treatment on one section of my face. And my friend at the time said, I'm not gonna say in exact terms that he said, because he said, "B, you're gonna have you're gonna have a full face by the end of the year." And I had a full face by the end of the year. I started on just practicing with me, and then people started to want me to do their makeup, and I was like, "No, I don't do makeup," and it was like, "No, we're willing to pay you." I said, "Well, I'm willing to learn."
Right.
You know, and it just took on a life of its own. It opened Pandora's box artistically. It really did. Yeah.
So in doing that, in your early stages, you created your own luxury lip gloss from scratch. And that quickly transitioned into you being a self-taught makeup artist. Tell me about making your own lip gloss, because you know that's not something just you know, one thing to learn makeup, but it's another thing to create your own.
So that was the tricky part of the question when you asked me that,
Okay.
because the thing.
I'm here. I'm highlighting you. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
So the tricky part of that question is because my first love was making things from scratch. That was my first love. I'm like a natural chemist, not to toot my own horn, but I'm tooting my own horn in this one, because that's just something I love. I love chemistry. I love putting things together. When I go to a store to buy anything that is, especially if it's skincare related or body related, I never look at the front of the packaging. I always look at the ingredients, because the ingredients are going to tell me everything that I need to know about that particular product, right? So when I was a child, I used to get my butt whipped. Like, if my aunties and my parents and everyone sees this, they will tell you that is true facts. If I was too quiet too long, I was creating something. I was making something from scratch. And as time went on, I became good at it. You know, I became really good at it, to the point where it was second nature to me, and I didn't even think I was doing anything special, because I do it so just matter of factly that I didn't think that anything was special. And then it took people who believed in me to tell me, like, "No, you're really onto something. Why do you think we always come to you about skincare advice and beauty tips and this and that?" It's because you naturally know how to do that. You have a gift. And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "It's easy. All you gotta do is just do it, CO2, blah, blah, blah," you know. And then like, "Girl, we don't know that."
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, really, what I want you to do is, I'm going to, because I'm hearing some static and everything, and I want everybody to be able to hear everything that you're saying.
Yes.
Can you hang up and log back in? And I'm going to do another intro of you. As a matter of fact, I'm going to play a commercial, and let's see if that fixes the connection, because I want people to be able to hear everything that you're saying to me.
Perfect. All right. I will do that.
I'm gonna do a commercial. Hold on, don't hang up yet. Let me move the. All right, once the commercial come on, then you do that. All right.
Okay.
Making perfect spice choices for healthy food is important to manage chronic diseases. We have focused on a specific line of spices that can really fit your diabetic lifestyle. Our spice flavors are a game changer. We have created unique blends of all-purpose seasonings that are salt-free, gluten-free, with no additives and preservatives, great for chronic conditions like high blood pressure, obesity, and heart disease. These spices contain antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal properties, and improve digestive function and metabolism. Choose diabetic cuisine spices for your family to feel more safe, confident, and support healthy aging.
All right, so we are back, and we are talking to Lili Washington, founder of YBLimited. She is a model, an actor, a producer. She has been featured on Vogue magazine and Allure, and she is currently signed to We Speak Model Agency. So we was just having some technical difficulties. I don't know what's been going on with the internet lately, because last week I had that as well. It wasn't my end, but it was somebody else's end. But however, the internet is a beast sometimes. So she's ready to call back into the show. So we're going to give her a couple more seconds. And here she is. Hello.
Hey, hopefully that worked.
It did. You sound so much more clear.
Perfect.
I couldn't let we got all this staticky sound. We're not gonna do that.
No. You know, StreamYard does that sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, they got to get it together.
Yeah, they do. They do. I was just telling the audience that last week, a guest, their actual street went out, and so his whole line disconnected and everything. I was like, Lord,
Oh no.
right? So, anywho, speaking, we was just talking about your lip gloss line. I have a big question for you.
Yes.
What do you feel is missing in the cosmetic industry right now?
What is missing? You know, that's a good question because there's always going to be something missing, you know, no matter what. I feel like there's a lot of improvements that have been happening. But in addition to that, so I feel like some of the improvements have been, let's talk about the good stuff and then I'll add on, have been that they have been more inclusive with colors and undertones and shades and things like that. I feel like, and they've also been more inclusive when it comes to just diversity in general. So I feel like that we can continue to push forward with both of those.
Right.
Because when I first started, it was 99 shades for our Caucasian friends and 3 for us. And
that's true. Yeah.
You know, come on now. So shout out to Rihanna for changing that and making the brand step up, right? And because we were saying it for so long, even when the beauty gurus and everything, they were really big. You know, that was something that all of the Black beauty influencers were saying, like, come on, we need more shades, right? What I'm seeing now, and that's funny that you asked that question because right before I came on here with you, I was actually listening to another podcast and they were talking about the beauty industry. And I was like, really, like, I'm so glad that someone is discussing this, what's going on in the industry. And I believe what's going on in the industry is a lack of transparency. And I feel like, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what I mean, because I'm trying to think of the word, and maybe we can together come up with what that means that's missing. What I'm seeing is this, with hair and makeup, a lot like YouTube and Instagram have created stars in the makeup and hair. And let me tell you, that can create some egos and some delusions and some other stuff.
Right.
And so I was listening to this thing because I haven't really been a makeup artist full time in a while. I kept like 2 of my clients that I still do makeup for. But mostly my stuff has been modeling and acting. So I was like, oh, all of this is going on, meaning how much they're charging people because they have a large following. Well, that could be really tricky because I love my people making coins, right? But come on, we got to be mindful, right, of who our clientele is. And if you're not doing Janet Jackson's makeup, you shouldn't be charging X amount of dollars for it that they're going to wash off at the end of the day. Like, come on, it has to be. That's what's missing, balance. That's what's missing. I knew I would just go into what I was thinking about. I knew it would come back. It's the balance that's missing. Because I'm looking at what they're charging and what they're not doing and the skills that they don't possess.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you perfect example, perfect story. Got a good one for you. So I have a young lady who's a follower of mine. And one day, this is when like I was at the height of my career and makeup and stuff like that. And she inboxed me. She was like, "Hey, how much do you charge for a face?" So I just, without thinking, sent it to, I charge this, blah, blah, blah. It comes with, it includes lashes and travel within certain amount. But then I thought about it. I was like, hold on, this person's not in New York. Maybe she's thinking about coming to New York and she's thinking about booking me. So let me inquire more about why she asked this question. So I was like, hey, were you planning on, well, why did you want to know? She said, well, I'm thinking about becoming a makeup artist and I just need to know what to charge. Girl, no. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
Like, first of all, you might not even need to be charging anybody anything.
Right.
And then so she says, I said, well, show me some work that you've done. To go to my page. I said, okay. I went to her page. I said, baby, it's just pictures of you. You're pretty now. You're pretty now. We can agree on that. You're a beautiful girl, and you beating your face. You beating your face.
Right.
But I don't see not one client, not one face other than yours on there, and that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, balance.
That was a great example too.
And, she was dead serious.
Yep.
She was dead serious.
So with YTV being the first all-inclusive mobile services, right? What did that include? Because I know you had a lot of people involved in it.
Yes. So it was hair, makeup, wardrobe, photography, and nails.
Wow.
And we traveled to the clients, whether they were housewives or celebrities, movies or weddings, whatever needed any of those services. We were able to travel and bring, and we had a diverse team. We still do have a diverse team in Atlanta. And what I would do is match the professional up with the client, because this is another thing. One thing that I was really, really clear about from the very beginning is that I didn't want to just provide a service, because I felt like that was really easy. I felt like that was just simple and basic, because if you're going to be paying, that's to go back to be what you're charging for and what makes sense. Hello. So I felt like if you were going to be paying, and our prices work and aren't astronomical, so, but if you're going to be paying this particular price, you should not only get a service, which is going to be a fabulous service, like your stuff is going to be phenomenal. Okay?
Right.
That goes without saying, but you're going to get you an experience. You're paying for an experience. Me, as a person who works hard for every last dime that I have, I love paying for experiences. I'll pay for an experience over a service any day. I do pay for experiences over services.
It's a big difference.
It's a huge difference. Yeah. It's a huge difference when you do someone's wedding and they feel like you were a part of the wedding, and now you're a part of that memory forever. And if you get divorced, they still got the happy memory of you being a part of the wedding. But you get what I'm saying. I'm just saying. It's a big thing.
Okay, so you also started YBL Model Management. What are you for in your models? And so you was getting so many referrals and people saying, hey, you have models, but you said, you know what?
Yes, that's what happened. I don't run YBL Model Management anymore because I don't want to do both.
Yeah.
That's that. But when I was doing it, I was very selective of who I brought on, and what I look for is an it factor. I'm so glad you asked that question. It's not just what I look for. That's what any agent or manager that's smart is going to look for. Okay, and let me be really clear, because this is a really good question for models. Was I looking for the prettiest girl? Heck no.
Right.
And that is the biggest misconception
Mm-hmm.
with people who are aspiring to be models.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, your looks play a huge part in it. Let's not act like it doesn't.
Right.
Okay? But that it factor, that is what we really look for, because the thing is, there's a such thing as being too pretty to model.
Mm.
A lot of people don't know that.
Wow.
They don't listen. They're not looking for the pretty girl, the pretty girl, the girl that you and I, when we walk down the street and say, "Oh my gosh, she's so pretty." They can care less about that.
Mm-hmm.
They want something that's going to set this particular person apart from all of the people in society.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the pretty girl. They want someone who has that something that stands out. So when you see that, let me just think of somebody I've modeled for before I start naming out names. When you see that Target commercial, if you see that Stitch Fix commercial, you're going to remember that it's going to stand out.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want too many people. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I look for. Humility.
Mm.
Humility and being humble are two different things.
You are preaching.
Okay. Humility means knowing oneself. That's the definition of humility. So you can have humility and not be so humble, because you might be telling the truth.
Right.
Okay. They know themselves. They know themselves enough to be able to say, I can do that better than you. Blah, 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 blah. That's humility. Lack of humility is when you think you can sing and you just can't. Girl, you can't. That's not knowing oneself. That's called delusions. So that's humility. And then being humble as well, because I'm putting those separate. Being humble as well, and that's so that you can be open to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect example. I went from being a model manager, to becoming a model.
Mm-hmm.
I could have just stepped to my agent and been like, "Girl, I've been doing this for da 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 da. I'm gonna tell you a thing."
Yeah,
that wouldn't help me.
Yeah,
that wouldn't help me.
Speaking of, how open do you need to be to being able to get constructive criticism?
You need to be very open,
as
well as that humility piece comes back again. Like, you know yourself, right? But then you are open enough for new information to come in. And that balance, going back to balance again, that balance is important, because there are times where you do have to stand up and say, no, I'm going to have to stand on this one, picking and choosing my battles. This one, I believe strongly in. I want to do this. So that is part of the career journey that I've had to go through. I have a phenomenal relationship with both my agents and my manager. And we have those conversations where they're like, well, I see this. And I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. I didn't think about that, but I'm open to that idea. Or versus like, well, we're thinking you should go in this direction. I don't see it like that. Or maybe you're right, but I see it like this. So you're open to being able to have that dialogue where you just don't know everything. And because the thing I realize is that, say if you wanted to come and you came to me and you want to be signed, I can, without thinking twice, because I've been doing it for so long, I can just go, okay, this is what I'm seeing, da, 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 you might want to do this, blah, 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 blah. When it comes to me, it's a little bit more difficult. It is. It's more difficult, because it's how I see myself versus how others see me. So I have to have that balance between the both.
I definitely understand that. One of the things that I noticed in the music industry, and I think it's the same in the modeling industry and in the acting industry as well, is even when it's not lights, camera, action, you still have to be on off camera. Knowing that those relationships, when people are looking at you, and you never know how your next situation might come about.
Oh my God, yes, you put in the good ones today. Yes. That is a part of it. It's a huge part of it. And everyone thinks that they want this. They all think they want this. It is not easy. It is not glamorous 24/7. It's not glamorous 90% of the time. Right?
Right.
I do this because I love to create. I love to create. I am an artist through and through. When I turn this camera off and we're done with this, I'm still going to be creating, whether you're looking at me or not. I'm not doing it for attention. I'm not doing it for likes and views. Now, I am doing it for money because this is what I do for a living, right? But that's secondary to me doing it just because, right? I'm doing what I love and I just happen to get paid for it. Now, with that being said, there's some things that come with this thing, right? Because yes, there's a lot of perks, and I love the perks that come with this, right? I really do. At the same time, I tell everybody, if you're getting into this for the perks or for the attention or for the money, I suggest you leave now. Because there's going to be so much other stuff you're going to have to go through before you even get to those perks and that money and that other stuff. If you get to it, because there's no guarantees in music or acting or just entertainment in general. You can work your tail off for 5, 10, 20 years, and there is no one can guarantee you that you will make it or that you'll even be able to pay your bills solely off of what you do. This is what I like, what you see me do on social media, that's how I pay my bills. So there's so much pressure that comes with that. So when I leave out this door, they're expecting the Lili Washington from Instagram. They expect that personality. They expect that look. We all know, it's no secret. Beyonce, her lying butt, because we love her, but she lied when she said she woke up like this. None of us wake up like this. Okay? We love her though. But none of us wake up like this. So, but no one wants to see the person that wakes up. They want to see that person from, So, and I run into people all the time, that recognize me from something. And thank God I'm a nice person. I always say that. Thank God I'm genuinely a nice person. Because I tell people this all the time. Some of my biggest breakthroughs in this industry have come from organic relationships. I'm telling you, I can run down a list of some of the milestones that you've seen, and they have stemmed from organic relationships. What do I mean by that? Just simply being nice to people.
Right.
Not just because you think that they can help you. I'm talking about when I walk into the bathroom of a store and I see someone cleaning up, I say thank you. Things like that. You just never know. And those organic relationships, they weren't people who I thought could do something for me. I was just being nice to another human being.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So you were one of the first transgenders on a national Target commercial.
Yeah.
How does that feel, knowing that you are everywhere?
It's surreal. It's surreal. It hits me from time to time. And I'll have certain things that happen. I'll have certain things that happen that remind me of that. And I'm just like, huh? Because I don't see. Okay, so this is the thing. I try not to. I don't watch television, so I don't see the commercials that I'm on and stuff. And now that I'm in Ulta, I'm not going in the Ulta like that.
That's so awesome. I mean, to walk in and you just right there.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Right.
Seeing that. And I've had some other experiences. I try to not. Okay, this is what I do. This is the back to the balance thing. I allow myself to feel it from time to time, but I don't try to live there because I am afraid. This is a fear of mine. First of all, I have some insecurities behind it. I'm still working on that because, like, I've worked through all of these insecurities and all that, being transgender, all that crazy stuff. Like, I don't have that insecurity no more. Like, there's nothing anybody can say to me that's gonna make me feel any type of way, all that crazy stuff. Like, that don't bother me.
Right.
But like this new place in my life and the success or whatever it is, like the visibility, I have an insecurity behind that. And so part of me not watching the things and seeing the things is because of insecurities behind it. And then the other part of it is a fear that I feel like if I don't want to be that person who's just so consumed with themselves and just think that they're better than or whatever. And that's the other thing. And then the other thing is I don't want to lose my hunger. I don't want to lose my drive. You know, I like I said, I do what I do out of purity and out of love and out of truth and honesty. So like I just want to stick with that. So I, you know, at first I used to didn't allow myself to feel it at all. But then I realized that was unhealthy. That was the other end of the unhealthy spectrum. So I'm still trying to find my way towards the middle part of it. Yeah.
So how do you balance your business and your personal life?
God, all these good questions. I'm loving it. That's a really good question. Now, what I can say is I have really good balance when it comes to that.
Okay.
Wasn't always that way. Okay. Yeah. That is through complete trial and error. I feel like I made every mistake there is building a brand, building a business, and not having balance, right? So my first 6 years of building my brand and building my business, I don't regret anything, none of it. I was like this. I was what? Like I can't come to your wedding. I'm busy, you know, I'm working, you know. No, I can't go out with you all. And yeah, I'll see you at the next family reunion and right? And it worked. It worked, right? I looked at it as that person who goes to school for 4 to 8 years to become whatever it is they want to become. Say if they want to become a lawyer or a doctor, where you're in school, you're hunkered down, you're studying for those however many years. So I looked at it like that because I didn't go to school. I educated myself. I still had to be educated. I still had to make the sacrifice of time and educating myself and all of that stuff and paying my dues and all of that. So I paid my dues. So, you know, and then I looked up one day and my career took off and things were going great. And I was in a hospital because of exhaustion. And I wasn't resting. I wasn't eating properly. The stress and all of that. And then I learned a valuable lesson. And I'm, you know, making a long story short, but I learned a valuable lesson. And then that's when I started to entertain the idea of a live-work balance. And that's when I started to practice some different things because all of us are replaceable. I don't care who you are. So what was it? You know, like I was missing my loved ones' special days. You know, I was missing out on rest. I was missing out on my time with God. Like I was missing out on things that I just couldn't get back. And I was like, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. And so I started to find that balance with my time and things like that. The other thing is where it comes for balance with now I'm dealing with the visibility and all of that other stuff. So this is how I explain to people who are thinking about getting into this, becoming a content creator, just becoming visible. Right. I tell them create in truth and honesty and love. You cannot go wrong. Right. And what I mean by that, whatever you put out, let it be an extension of you. Right. Let it come from the most truest and most pure and loving place that you can find. Let it be all you because you can't go wrong. At the same time, you dictate how much of you are willing to give and share for public consumption. You have to be very intentional. Well, you don't have to do anything. Let me just say, I chose to be very intentional, right? And because of that, I feel like that part has been navigated pretty well. Like, I'm very private, actually. I'm very private.
I understand that.
I'm very private. Like, people, like, yes, I'm very public on social media. You see me all day. You see me every day.
Yep.
But I laugh because I'm like, oh my God, there's just so much I really don't post.
Mm-hmm.
And when people are around me, they're like, I noticed something about you. You don't even pull out your phone. You don't even take any pictures. You don't even, I'm like, no, because I'm in this moment with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. So saying all of that and knowing that, you know, this industry that you're in takes a lot of hard work. Give us a rundown of your health regimen.
Oh, well, that is very, very important for me, like I said, because of where I went wrong. So, health. There's a lot of things when you're talking about health. We got physical health, we have emotional health, we have mental health, we have spiritual health,
That's
okay?
true.
We have financial health, okay? So I have had to take responsibility and accountability for all of those areas. Because like I said, I feel like I've made a lot of mistakes in all of those areas, and that's how I've gotten better. And I'm better in some areas than others.
Right.
As far as, okay, so I'll start with the physical one because I know that's what people go to first. Physically, I have been, okay, so I intermediate fast. I've been doing that for almost as long as I've been in business. And that was not an active decision that I made. It was just being busy and then forgetting to eat. But what happens is my body sets an alarm. It's like an alarm. I've been doing it for so long. So between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. I eat dinner. But before then, it's water and or coffee. I drink tons of water. Okay. And so I intermediate fast. And then I'll snack while I'm up at nighttime because I stay up late. But the other thing is I get adequate sleep. I do not play when it comes to my sleep. I do not play. Because I've made such bad choices in the past. The other thing is I walk an average of 5 miles a day. It's easy because I live in New York City. One of the reasons why I moved here, one of the millions of reasons why I moved here, is because I don't like driving. I hate driving. I prefer not to be in a car in New York City. Like, I prefer to take the train or walk or something like that. And if I have to, I'll take an Uber. So that keeps me active and healthy. The other thing is stress. I don't take on a bunch of stress anymore. If I can't listen, if there's nothing I can do about it, there's nothing I can do about it. And if there is, I get right into the solution so I can keep it moving and get back to happy. I live in a bubble, a self-imposed bubble of unicorns, rainbows, butterflies, and happiness. Okay. So you know what I'm saying? So if anything takes me out of that bubble for a second, okay, we're not gonna ignore it. We're gonna go right to the solution and keep it moving. Spiritually, I will say my intermediate fasting helps with my spiritual walk as well. I didn't even realize that was another byproduct that it makes me very very intuitive. I don't miss anything. Sometimes I want to miss some things. Sometimes I want to go to sleep and take, like, I really do. But it's like, and I notice a difference when I break that fast every now and then, like when I'm on vacation or someone's in town and I'm showing them around, then I'll eat before 4. And then once I do that, maybe for a few days I'll do that, and I'll notice a difference in my intuitive, my spiritually. I am a very spiritual person, and very, very, very active relationship with the God of my understanding. And I can do a whole book on that. But what I will say is that is the most personal relationship you will ever have in this human experience. And I encourage everyone to find that personal I mean, I'm talking about personal that you ain't never, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that type of thing. It just cannot be explained, but you get it. You know, I encourage everyone to, you know, develop that type of relationship.
Okay. So, model, you now act. So let's talk about your short film, The Love Throughout.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Can you tell everybody what the short film was?
Well, The Love Throughout is a short film that everyone can find on YouTube right now. I am very proud of this short film. It's a 7-minute film about my life, and it was written, produced, directed by myself and Mr. David Hand, and I play myself. Without giving too much of it away, I will say that it is a story. It's a journey. It was my journey to self-love and self-acceptance. And I tell people, don't judge a book by its cover, because you've seen the film. And looking at me today, it would be very difficult for you to know the journey that I've been on to find self-love and self-acceptance. You know, and I put that out so that in hopes that either people don't have to go down the same road that I went down, or if they happen to be on that road, that they know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that, you know, they just need to see someone come to the other side. Right. And it was a labor of love and honesty. And it was birthed during the pandemic, because like I said, I have to create. If I'm not creating, I don't feel like I'm breathing. And so during the height of the pandemic, when everything was shut down, David felt the same way. We need to do something. We need to make something. And so we chose to do a short film. Neither one of us had ever done anything like that before. We were like, who do we think we are? But then, you know, it had to go back to that whole YBLimited, right? YBLimited.
Right.
So we set out to do it, and and I did not know that it was going to make the impact that it did. And I get messages. It came out 2 years ago, and I still to this day get messages almost every day from around the world, from people who are just finding it through a coworker or through a child or through a parent or whoever, however they find it. And the messages that I get from people, I'm like, wow, I did not know it was going to do that. But the biggest thing that happened from that I did not expect, and that I didn't know that the film was going to do, was heal the relationship between myself and my parents. Yeah.
It was a very informative. I felt like he was being very transparent, you know, and I can definitely see why you get so many messages, you know, about it. I don't want to give it away either and dive into, you know, what's on there. But I will say, I think you should look into, you know, doing it, sending it to like the festivals and everything. It's really good, and I'm not just saying it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we have plans for that film as well as a follow-up film, because people want to see more of the more, like what happened after that part.
Right.
Like, how did you get from that to here? Because that's a whole nother thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
I thought once I dealt with those things, oh, I was good, smooth sailing, and in life was like, okay, good girl, all right, hey, we're glad you got that, you know. But now it's time to grow. Now it's time to go to the next place, and in order to go to the next place, these are some more. You know, and but I'm glad I stepped up to the challenge, and I continue to step up to the challenge. You know,
I am too.
Yeah.
I am too. Well, I want to tell you, I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with you. Can you tell everybody how they can reach you, how they can book you, and all that good stuff?
Yes. You can reach me anywhere, like all of the social media outlets. That is Instagram. Well, not all of them, because I don't do Twitter. So don't go looking for me over at Twitter. I might have a page, but you ain't gonna find nothing over there. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook at YBLimited. That's the letter Y, the letter B, the word limited. YBLimited.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And with that being said, everyone, we are out here, so we will talk to you guys later.